in the stadium, I'm not that brother and that son and that I guess father. Now I'm that warrior version of myself, and that's a process that I've gone over that works for me. And there's no more emotion now. It's just going in and doing a job, and something that our tūpuna would have done. Going into the battlefield and they're letting go of stuff that doesn't matter.
He's one of the world's bravest fighters in the UFC, a man adored for his ability to be able to stand firm and staunch in the cage. But it's his fight for his reo and tikanga and his Māori culture and identity that sets Kaiwhare Kara-France apart from the rest. A descendant of Waikato, Ngāti Tūwharetoa, Ngāti Kahungunu and Tūhoe, Kaiwhare Kara-France tells us about his life and in particular his admiration for one of the greatest orators in Māoridom in history. This is his story. Kaiwhare Kara-France, Indigenous 100.
E te hoa, Kaiwhare Kara-France tēnā koe. Nau mai ki te rau o taketake. Welcome to Indigenous 100. Thank you so much for agreeing to talk to us. Thank you so much for your time. Because I know that you've got a young pepe, and I know you're on different shifts.
Yep.
So really appreciate you being able to come in. How old is baby now?
So my youngest is about 3 months old.
Oh, yeah.
And my oldest is nearly 3.
Oh, that's hard out, eh?
Yeah. 2 boys as well. So.
Oh, 2 boys.
Yeah,
I knew you had
energy.
a son. I didn't realise you had 2 boys. How do you fit that all in?
It's definitely a juggling act, but you just got to prioritize what's important, and support system around me, having my wife that's our rock, and guidance, and our grandparents are only 5 minutes up the road on both sides, so it's nice to have that extra help and offload when we need it. So pretty lucky to have such great family around us.
Kai, where's that name from?
So Kai is I guess my shortened version of my full name. So Kaiwhare is my full name. So that was my uncle's namesake, my mum's oldest brother. So Uncle Boboy or Kaiwhare. And it's a family name, so it's been in my whānau. So every sibling on my grandma's side carried Kaiwhare. So translates to house of knowledge. So you eat knowledge, and you take it with you on your journey in life. So big name to kind of live up to, with a lot of mana, a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
But good pressure helps you.
Where's the kara name from?
So kara comes from Napier, Hawke's Bay. That's where my whānau is on my mum's side. So kara was my great grandfather's name, so Karaitiana. So he was a speaker for the Māori King Kōriki, and it shortened. So that's from Karaitiana became Kara.
Oh, so I knew we had a teacher at Te Aotearoa who was a speaker for Te Nui, Te Tairangi Kau.
Yep.
His name was Te Aopehi Kara.
That's my grandfather.
Oh, that's your grandfather?
That's my grandfather, yes. Yep.
Oh, wow.
Yep. So, like I said before, big, whakapapa and great men that have come before me. So it's not by accident of where I am today when I've got, that blood.
So Eugene and Callum are your uncles?
Yep. Uncle Callum, Uncle Eugene. Yep.
Wait, how old are you?
30.
You're born 93?
Yeah.
Sorry, I should know. I'm doing the maths in my head. I wonder if you were the baby that used to turn up at school when I was there.
Maybe. I would have been around a lot with my uncles, yeah.
Far out. It's a small world, eh?
Yeah. And then you start making all the connections. Yeah.
So, I hope you don't mind me talking about your grandfather.
Yeah.
Because, what's the phrase? He was the man.
Yeah.
He was an amazing, well, you mentioned the word orator, the speaker, an amazing orator, and lots of charisma, dressed impeccably.
Yep.
There was him and an old fellow called Hohua Tutamaihe, both superlative orators of Te Reo Māori, incomparable on the marae. And they were dressed to the nines. They always wore suits with a waistcoat, carried a pocket watch,
Yep.
and a handkerchief in the pocket. And those are people I used to look up to when I was learning te reo.
Yeah.
And he used to teach us at Te Aute. He was our Māori teacher,
Yep.
te reo teacher. And put it this way, we didn't say a lot.
Yeah.
When he was around, we just listened to him.
Yep. That's the exact same upbringing that we had around our grandfather. Was when he walked into a room, you just knew he didn't have to announce himself. He just had that presence and that mana of you spoke when you were spoken to. You wouldn't speak out of line, but he had so much aroha for his tamariki, for his grandchildren, and I guess our household was full of so much. So much aroha, but at the same time, knowing, we've got great things to do. So especially me and my brother, who's named after my grandfather, Te Aopehe, we had that kind of expectation of whatever we wanted to do in life, we were going to be pushed into that leadership role for our whānau. And, my brother's a lawyer, me on my path that I've taken, it was kind of just put on us to kind of lead from the front, and that came from our upbringing, being around great men like our grandfather and our grandmother, and I'm very thankful for that upbringing.
You said expectation. What's that like? Potentially even before you start carving out your own path, the one that you're on now, and your own journey, what's that like to have the expectation given? I think just about everyone in Māoridom knew who your grandfather was. What was that like to have the weight of that expectation on your shoulders, knowing you have to carry on that tradition, I suppose?
Yeah, it was only going to help you and just keep you grounded and keep you, welcoming challenges that were ahead of you, and having that resilience to push through and know that whatever you face in life, it's in you to overcome it. And I guess that gives me the clarity of where I'm heading, to know that where I've come from and the people that have come before me.
How does culture, reo, tikanga, how can that possibly help you when you're in the cage?
Oh, that gives me everything that I need to know about what I do for a living. Is tapping into tupuna, tapping into my whakapapa, which is we come from this bloodline of warriors and leaders. So that's how I make sense of everything that I'm about to go do, is welcoming on Tūmatainga, the god of war, and letting go of rongo, the god of peace. Something that I've had to learn over time. So being brought up in Auckland, you could become a bit disconnected to tikanga and te reo, because everyone's so busy, everyone's trying to progress in different ways in life, which is okay. My parents knew that one day I'd full circle and come back to my journey in te reo and on the reo waka, and kind of reconnect with my Māori side, and having children has helped me kind of do that. So with fighting, subconsciously I was already doing these things, tapping into a different alter ego of myself, but now to have the tikanga to go with it, what's made sense of it. So before I go out and fight, I remember my grandmother used to say, her name's Wairiki, she would always say, do a karakia before you go out, just to guide you, just to bless you, So whatever you're going to go do, you can come back home safe. And I have the reo to go with that now, and it's been awesome to kind of tap into that. And when I'm in the cage, there might be 30,000 people in the arena, and they might be going for the other guy, but I have all my tūpuna behind me. So just makes me feel calm, makes me feel, confident, and also just at peace with what's about to happen, and knowing that, tūpuna would have been on the battlefield, fighting for our whenua, fighting for our land and for our people. I just get to do that in the modern day version of it. So, yeah.
Wow. Okay, so there's a couple of things I want to pick up on, and I do want to talk about your real journey and where you think you're at with that and how that's going, because that interests me as a second language learner, right? I'm always interested in seeing how people are developing and the tricks of how they're doing it and all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I want to come back to, you talked about the alter ego, and I want to talk a little bit about process, how you go through that, because part of that could be learned behaviour, and as you say, the other part of it is tūpuna inspired, if I can put it that way.
Yeah.
It's influenced by a whole bunch of different things.
Yeah.
So when you're, say for example, your last fight, controversial as it was, I read an article not long afterwards, I think it was, that 18 out of a panel of 20 experts, 18 of them said you won, and most of us agree with them.
Yeah.
But let's just go back to the bit before you get to the arena. Right? Talk to me about the process of when the alter ego starts to develop and how that happens. Because it interests me that that everything's kind of process driven. There's a place at which you do this and then you do that and then you do that. Yes, there's a bit of natural athleticism that comes.
Yeah.
But talk to me about the start of that. When you get into the arena, or is it before then? What happens? How does it work?
So fight week, when you touch down wherever you're fighting, mostly, or at the moment, most fights are done in Las Vegas, so the fight capital of the world. So when you touch down, kind of that flight over there, it's that's that transition of, that calm before the storm. So fight week, when you land, you have all your usual things you do, your media, weigh-in day, and then fight day. So you're kind of just soaking up all the just the motions of fight week. Seeing your opponent for the first time. What they have to say about you. All of that stuff doesn't really matter because all the work's done in the camp. Yeah. So when it's fight week, it's all about just doing what you usually do to make you feel in your groove, and getting ready for that night. We usually fight on a Saturday night. Go to the stadium on the shuttle. All the teams behind me, our coaches, Eugene, Andre, whoever else is in the corner as well. They'll be on the bus and just playing, I like to listen to especially New Zealand or Māori Waikato, so something that keeps me calm, something that takes my mind off what I'm about to go do.
So that's about trying to stay centred?
Yeah.
Okay.
Centred and just reminded of like what I'm about to go do is for something, for a purpose, and not overthinking anything, just taking it as it is. So you get to the stadium, you go to your locker room, you see your UFC fight kit with your name on it, and then I just have a rest, go to sleep. I just start to visualize everything I'm about to go do. I start to have those karakias. I look into the mirror in the bathroom, and you kind of just assess everything, look at yourself, and just kind of start to drop all those other responsibilities and those other roles that you carry. When I'm in the stadium, I'm not that brother and that son and that father. Now I'm that warrior version of myself, and that's a process that I've gone over that works for me. And there's no more emotion now. It's just going in and doing a job, and something that our tūpuna would have done, going into the battlefield, and they're letting go of stuff that doesn't matter. And and for me, it's a clear path of what I'm going to do. And so when I make that walkout, where I hear my walkout music, there's no second guessing yourself. There's no doubt. There's just supreme confidence. There's just, an objective, which is to go out there and kill or be killed. And it is quite black and white with what you're about to go do, but you have to, if you feel like you're going to lose, that's probably going to happen. So you can't have any self-doubt, any sabotage. You have to cut it straight away. If you have any of those things that come into your mind, which is normal as human beings, but you have to be able to just acknowledge it as what it is and then let it go. So when you're in there, you're just seeing everything right in front of you, not looking about what you're going to do after the fight, what this means for you. If I beat this guy, I might fight for the world title. Or that stuff doesn't matter unless you go out there and do your job and go get the win. You're so dialed in, which is the word. Yeah.
What is the last thing that goes through your mind, or the last thing that you say to yourself before the ref, the umpire, the man in the middle taps his hand and says fight? What's the last thing that you say to yourself, or what's the last thing that's in your mind?
I'm probably tapped into my breathing, so a lot of it is just controlling the things I can, and that's just being efficient with my output. So I don't want to be, breathing too heavy and feeling heavy. I want to be just controlling, my breath rate, and that's, light nasal in, light nasal out if I can. Taking in everything in the arena. So I used to kind of be so tunnel vision that I don't take it all in. I just want to.
You would try and knock out,
leave
the crowd noise out,
block it out. Yeah.
You don't do that anymore.
No, I kind of figured out. Don't fight it, accept it, and welcome it. And that means look at faces, look at people. It's not like a distraction. It's more just being aware of your surroundings, and that kind of helps you not build things up that they're more than it needs to be. So in fighting, it's always going to be the same setup. So when you get into the cage, no matter how big of a platform or promotion you're fighting in, it's always the same: the cage, the ref, and your opponent. So once you get past that, it's always the same. So when you're in there, you just feel at home.
And you can hear Eugene yelling out to you?
Yeah, very clear. So you have to have your ears, you have to learn how to, I guess, channel voices and instructions that you need to. And that's a skill in itself when, people are screaming and so much is going on around you, but I don't worry about those noises. I just worry about the extra eyes that you have to guide you. And, having Eugene as a coach, very thankful to have that kind of mentorship and guidance when I'm in there. So, before we ever go out and fight, we have do a prayer to kind of, guide us of what we're about to go do, and just remind us, we've got teammates that aren't here anymore. They've passed on, and we're carrying on their legacy, and just kind of, it's bigger than, for my own self. It's, the team that we fight for, City Kickboxing, and it means a lot to us. And then obviously when we drape the New Zealand flag over our shoulders, just reaffirms everything we're about to go do. Yeah.
And in between rounds, and sorry, this is getting really technical and focusing on fighting, but one of the things about doing these kind of corridor with people like you is that when I hear you talk about breathing, because that's something that people need to kind of learn, and everyone thinks, oh, well, I know how to breathe, but in actual fact, breathing is really important, even when you're doing gigs like this. Breathing when you're speaking and all that kind of stuff, right? Completely different situation, I know. But so in between rounds, I know, and you're talking with the coach and stuff, but what are you saying to yourself, even though you will be listening to Eugene, and people are yelling and, there's cameras going and all that kind of stuff, but what are you thinking and saying to yourself in those breaks? Are you saying, oh, geez, he got me there, or, oh, no, I got him good, I'm ahead, I'm up, or again, have you just got ultimate clarity about what the next thing is?
Yeah, so for the first 20 seconds, you're just trying to control the gears of your breathing. So something that our breathing coach has taught us, Dave Wood, is going through this gear system. So, when you're going for your absolute max, so you're using a lot of energy, that's when you're just going to be using your mouth, so in and out. But then you want to try work back down those gears. So eventually in your nose, out your mouth, and then hopefully you can get back to just nasal in, nasal out. So I'm just trying to tell myself to don't do anything but focus on the breathing. So first 20 seconds, I'm not listening to any information that's coming in from Eugene. I'm just trying to kind of recenter myself. usually it takes 20 to 30 seconds, and then I'm sweet, and then I start to listen to what I need to be doing. So, anything that's happened in that round, let it go. Doesn't matter. What you're about to go do, that's what you want to be focusing on. So he'll say, like, we got that round, so we want to keep doing more of that, or, okay, you lost that round, we need to change something, we need to adapt, and that's fighting who can adapt the best. Yep. So on paper it might be, undefeated, world champion, all this accolades, but when you're in the cage, none of that matters. It's what's in front of you, who can adapt, who can not overestimate their opponent, and who can come, I guess, best prepared on that day. So for us, you got to be good at just adapting on the fly. Something that we're good at fighting is not holding on to results and stuff that's happened, and just pushing forward and never losing hope of winning. So
So what's it like then when you have maintained that focus for a long time, right through training camp, all the way to the fight, get the end of all those rounds, and then you get a split decision, which is controversially not for you, but for your opponent? How do you deal with that? Because, you've done everything you can, and according to the crowd and according to all of us, you've won a fight, and you probably in your own mind think and know that you've won a fight. And when it goes against you, what's that like?
Yeah, it's definitely tough when you put so much into this. And, this is my career. This is how I make a living for my family. This is, how I support them. And, losses do stick with you for a long time just because there's so much on the line. Your rankings, obviously financially, losing money. But, I haven't lost. This is my first time losing. So, I know how to deal with it. I know I'm fighting the best guys in the world. And, everyone else that saw that fight knew that I'd won. So I just take it for what it is. I know it doesn't, I guess, reflect my performance or where I'm at. It just shows that, I've got to, I guess, put more energy into, I guess, finishing fights rather than letting this go to the judges and kind of letting that decision in their hands. So for me, it's just focus on the next thing and stay positive. I don't dwell on things. I just move on and move forward. And a lot of the something that's reaffirmed my performance is I've been getting called out every UFC fight night, and they're not calling out the guy that won. They're calling out the guy that lost. So it just shows that they even thought I won as well.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up. Thank you for raising that, because I wasn't sure how I was going to do that diplomatically. Why do you do it? Because we've interviewed Julian Baremen for this. And he talked about a situation in his life which actually had a really profound effect on him, losing a fighter, and the way in which he coaches. And he talked about the fact that the main thing for him is finding a way to help protect his fighters that ultimately leads to results. But for him, it's about protecting fighters. For you, as a fighter, why do it when you know that sometimes, ultimately, the result doesn't end up being in your hands no matter what you do? So why do it?
This is all I've ever known. Since I was 10 years old, this is my dream, to be in the UFC and to do this as a career. And I guess it's something that's I fell into. Wasn't my sport growing up. Soccer was my main sport. Since I was 4 to about 20, that was what I played. That was my aspirations, was to be an all-white and play in the New Zealand soccer team. But I knew at an early age that wasn't going to happen, because if you weren't in those
elite academies,
academies and developing squads at 14, 15, then you're just a number, pretty much.
Yeah, because you went to Mount Albert Grammar
for soccer. Yeah,
really good football academy.
Yeah.
Kevin Fallon and all that kind of stuff.
So Kevin Fallon was our coach, and a lot of guys that I grew up with went on to become New Zealand soccer players, and have gone overseas and done really well in their careers. But I guess at one point in high school, I realised that I was kind of over team sports. I was over relying on other people, and I wanted to do something where it's all on you, pretty much. Obviously, you have the team to prepare for fighting, but when you're in the cage or in the ring, it's pretty much what you put in is what you're going to get out of it. So I love that about fighting. I remember having my first fight when I was about 15. I lost. My family was all there, and just to get in the ring, just those mental battles you have to overcome and block out. That's what I loved about it. So it wasn't about the winning or losing for me. It was about overcoming your fears and putting all that training into live play. And I knew that I was going to chase this.
Because you said a career.
Yep.
For many of us, the shelf life of a UFC fighter is actually really short. And it's something that most of us would think doesn't lead to a lifetime career. Yeah. I mean, you open a gym and you train. Once you finish fighting, you can train people and all that kind of stuff. But it doesn't lend itself ordinarily to most of us.
Yeah.
Unhardy and not really brave people like myself who would never get in a ring, let alone a cage, would think that's not the most career-enhancing move to get into UFC.
Yeah. Yeah, well, so all my siblings went to university. My dad's a lawyer, my brother's a lawyer, my other brother's a journalist. So I was the kind of, black sheep in the family that it wasn't for me going down that university path. And that was quite hard to tell my parents that I wanted to drop out of uni, and I was doing a Bachelor in Arts.
At Unitech, eh?
I was at Auckland Uni first,
Auckland Uni,
and then I dropped out, and then I did Bachelor of Sport at Unitech. So something that more catered towards doing sport, but again, my head wasn't in it. I just wanted to train, I just wanted to fight, and I just wanted to focus on getting better for fighting. So I told my parents that I'm going to drop out, and at that time that there were these scholarships advertised in Thailand where they were offering 5 guys to be a part of the fight team, free accommodation, food, all the training gear, and just all the means to kind of further your career. And I just told my parents I was going to book a one-way ticket and chase it and go for it. Ended up getting picked up and was based over in Thailand for about 4 years. Best thing to ever do was, get out of my comfort zone and, being shy and quite timid and figuring out who I was as a person. Traveling and going overseas definitely helped me figure that out because I didn't know anyone over there. I just had to learn as I went, and for experiences, meeting a lot of people, heaps of training partners and coaches, and traveling around Asia, fighting every month pretty much. So I was boxing, kickboxing, and fighting MMA pretty much every month. And when you're all in like that with no, plan B, you figure out if this is for you or not. So that was a big, realization that if I want to do this, I have to be 100% committed to it. And I just stuck at it. I just keep turning up. I wasn't always winning. There was some points in my career over there that family was saying, come back home. We can't keep funding this fantasy that you are chasing.
They were calling it a fantasy.
Well, just more like a training holiday where I wasn't winning every fight, and some months were tough where I had to ask for some money and get topped up, and my brother was sick of having to fill up my scooter and being that safety net. But I'm so thankful that I had that support, and I found a way to figure it out. And then after 4 years being in Thailand, I guess I got a bit too comfortable, where you just live in this life where you need a head coach to tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. And that's when I made the move back home to Auckland and started training under Eugene, because I was learning so much off him, and I knew that that's where I needed to be. So awesome to be back home, to not sacrifice friends and family and be away. But you have to navigate through all of that first to appreciate what you have.
I mean, it's an incredibly brave thing to do, to go somewhere so far away with a different culture and away from home for so long without a plan B. And then double up on that, the fact that it's the fight game. And I know you talked earlier about the fact that, there's a bit of DNA here, a whakapapa from tupuna, whawhai and pakanga and that kind of thing.
Yep.
But see, this isn't for all people. You know, I mean, not many people would do that.
Yeah.
And it kind of fascinates me that you have this kind of steely resolve and determination when there is a comfortable way of living, and yet that's not the way you've chosen to go.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just wondered if you realise that's not what normal people do.
No, I've realised that quite early on, but I'm quite stubborn when I have a goal or something that I want to do.
So where does that come from?
Definitely my upbringing.
Oh, yeah.
Just, you know, all of my siblings and my family, my dad and my mum. You know, I'm not the tallest person. I'm not gifted, you know, with this, you know, freakish physique where I can, you know, pick up a ball and go do a slam dunk or play rugby and run it straight to everyone and hurt everyone.
Your grandfather was a big guy.
Yeah. He was.
And Eugene and Callum were quite tall.
Yep.
And which is why when you said that was your grandfather, I was going, gee, he's quite a big fella.
Yeah. Well, my great-grandfather, Karaitiana, he was 7 foot.
Oh, yeah.
And there was a famous story of him when someone was speaking on a marae, and they spoke out of place, and he picked them up and threw them over the fence. He was that big. And so, you know, it is, I guess, a part of our heritage where, you know, we have a lot of great men.
Yeah.
But when people say, "Oh, who's the fighter in the family?" and he's behind all the big guys, he's the guy at the back. They always crack up. But you know, I've just had to work what I've been given, and for me, it was always been the hardest worker in the room. If I'm gonna do something, I have to be all in, and I guess it's helped me a lot being consistent. Where, you know, I might not be the fittest or the strongest, but I'll make sure that I'll close that gap between my peers and my opponents, where I'll put it all together and I'll find a way to come out on top. So yeah, something that was installed into all of us growing up was you just got to work hard at whatever it is, whatever your passion is.
Yeah.
And I guess that's what's kind of kept me in the fight game.
Yeah.
It was never about making money. It was never about, you know, being a tough guy. It was always following my passion, which was martial arts. But what I loved about it is it brought the best out of me. It brought, you know, so much that a great, I guess, ethos to kind of go off. That's why I feel like every child needs to learn martial arts, because, you know, you learn stuff that you take on for life, you know, how to be respectful, how to be accountable, how to have courage, how to be disciplined, how to be accountable and loyal. So many things that you need to learn as a young man, you know, transitioning from a boy to a man. And you know, for me, it wasn't about self-defense or anything. It was something that you carry for yourself, that inner confidence that you know that you can, I guess, hold your own and take on any challenge and be able to problem solve. And, you know, so many things that you learn on the mats, you learn through failure, you learn through you know, when things don't work out, you have to stay at it. Yeah.
I'm nodding and smiling and pointing because all of those characteristics are attributes that are transferable to learning a new language, and in particular your own language.
Yeah.
And in particular for you, for someone who's the progeny, the mokopuna of a tremendous orator, superlative orator of Te Reo Māori, that there's a lot of transferable skill there. You know, you talk about the characteristics of failing and learning and developing and that kind of thing. So I just wanted to quickly transfer to your language journey, because it can be a hard thing to do when you're older and you're male, because, you know, whether we like to believe it or not, an old lady one time who started the Pāpārangi language movement, Kazariri Mataira, said to me, you know, one of the biggest problems we have in Te Reo Māori is people like you. and she wasn't talking, or maybe she was talking about me. But anyway, she meant males, because our male ego doesn't like showing that we might not know something, or that we're ignorant about something, and so therefore we clam up and we don't talk. And she said that's the biggest problem we have for Te Reo Māori, is people like you, as second language learners, who don't want to be shown up to be wrong, and therefore you don't talk. So is the challenge similar, learning Te Reo? And do you approach it the same way as you do with the discipline transferred from your sporting athletic career to learning Te Reo?
Yeah, it's definitely, you just have to start. Whatever you know, whatever you don't know, you have to, you can't let that, I guess, put you off from starting. You just have to go in with, open arms. If there's mamae about, upbringing and being disconnected and not feeling worthy or not feeling that you have the right to learn, you have to put that to the side. It's just like fighting. If you don't use it, you lose it, right? And for me, when I, get into a groove where I do it every week, I have to keep doing it. Otherwise, I'm just going to say, I'll get back to it. And you never do, But one thing that helped me kind of dive deeper was when my son started going to kohanga reo, and, he's on his reo journey, so I need to, walk that path with him. So it was just time in my life where I was putting things in perspective and where I wanted to be and who I want to be. And a lot of that was, I guess, not patching things up with being busy, especially when you got children. You have to, you have a lot of downtime where you can, I guess, fill that with something that's important to you. And for me, I always knew that I'd come back to reo and come back on that journey. I've been lucky enough to be a part of a group that kind of helped me on that journey, and that was through Āpi and Tiao, who started their Zoom classes for especially athletes that have busy lives and want to get into that space, but they feel like they don't have enough, I guess, time to commit. So that was great, having that space to share with other men that were on their journey, and if they were feeling shy about how much they knew and how much they didn't know, it didn't matter. You just turn up, and there was no I guess ego, there was no judgment. It was just embrace it. And that was awesome, having that I guess space to share with other men and other tāne, just be a part of that.
Yeah. Of course, the talented one in their whānau is Te Atakura, the sister. But anyway, anyway, I just want to throw that out there. That'll ricochet throughout the Pāpārangi whānau. Yeah. How was it going?
So it's one of these things where I've actually been quite busy with, like you said before, the fight game is pretty unforgiving. I've had a concussion that I've had for the last 12, 13 weeks, so I've been nursing that.
Yeah, because you were meant to fight in Sydney. I think September.
I was supposed to fight in Sydney in a big UFC card, and I had to pull out. So it's another thing that's given me perspective. It's fighting it's my career, it's my job, but it's not my identity. For me, my identity is me being Māori, and that's always helped me kind of make sense of my path. So I know, I've got at least another 5 years left in me to pursue fighting. But when that day comes where I want to hang up the gloves and venture off into something else, it's not going to be a shock. It's not going to be where I have this midlife crisis where I don't know who I am anymore. It's a big, grounding saviour that I've had that realization early on. So I do other things outside of fighting, which is awesome. I do a lot of guest speaking, especially at schools and for mental health. I do a lot of I do commentating, so analysts for fighting. I have my own clothing line, which is awesome. Being in that space, being in something different to fighting. And then also, being a wrestling coach for the New Zealand Warriors, so helping them out in their career, adding value to their kaupapa and transferring what I've learned on the mats and martial arts to the rugby field.
Oh, so you're the reason. Well, I knew there must have been a secret point of success, and now I know what it is.
I wouldn't say I'm the reason, but definitely helped in some way.
You can take it, bro. It's all good. It's all good. Is it scary at the moment? You talked about the concussion. Is that scary? I mean, we're much more aware, which is awesome, about injury, and in particular injuries on the brain and the effects that has long term and all that kind of thing. And you're in a risky game, right? Yeah. Is that scary when that happens?
You definitely have. When my injury did happen, it was my first concussion in my whole career, 13 years of fighting. So pretty lucky, knock on wood, of how less damage I've been able to take. But this sport's very unforgiving. This could, stop your career. And I did have a week of, thinking, is this my time? Do I want to hang up the gloves? Do I want to stop fighting? Something that's just natural of, just being kind of overwhelmed with what's going on, and it's probably from the concussion as well. You can't regulate your emotions as well as you usually could. You're just very irritable. All my symptoms, I was nauseous, I was had headaches, it felt like I was hungover. Wow. Felt like unstable, and then mood-wise, very just angry and frustrated, and noise and light was irritating. So all these things that I'm trying to feel onto it, because I've got responsibilities, but I'm trying to get to a place where I can feel like not overwhelmed with everything that's going on. So when people say, when's your next fight, are you going to be ready, and putting that pressure on you, is like, I want to take a step back. I'm not feeling myself at all. Yeah. I don't want to have a timeline of when I need to be ready by. So that's when I just said, let's just take that pressure off from training and from fighting, and let me just do it when I'm ready, So that's where I'm at, and I'm back to, full training, which is, cardio, conditioning, weights, and all of that stuff. So I'm enjoying just moving my body again, being in a routine like that, where I'm, for so long, that's all I've ever known. And when it gets taken away like that, it's pretty tough to kind of deal with. But you just have to sit with it. You have to, I guess, allow yourself time to heal, and not put any more added pressure than it needs to, because it's only going to make it worse. So what helped me was, using all the Warriors resources, or their specialists, or their neurologists and sports concussion specialists, and they just said, stop comparing yourself to what you could do before your concussion. Set the benchmark lower, so in your head you're always winning. So that helped me a lot, where expectations for the day was usually train 3 times a day, do all this, fill up your day with so many things, when it's like, let's take all that away. If you go for a walk in the morning and you hang out for your kids, that's enough. You don't have to do anything more than that. That's okay to do that right now, because right now that's your priority. So weeks of doing that, and then I could add more to that. Okay, I can go for a run now. Okay, cool, I can fill up my day a bit more. So now it's at a point where I'm not having all these big setbacks. I'm coming back too early, being in the gym and trying to force it. That's when you start to get even more frustrated, because you're like, oh, well, I followed all the protocols and pathway back to sport, but I didn't give myself enough time. So that's where I'm at with not forcing these things. And hopefully December I'm cleared, and I can do everything, and I'll be a few months away from fighting again. So I know next year is going to be a big year for me, but I got to do the right things now, and that's just allow myself to take it easy and pick it up when I need to.
But you are back in the gym now?
Yep, back in the gym, doing pre-season with the Warriors, doing the field sessions with the boys, and doing the sprints and all of that stuff. So enjoying just using their pre-season is my pre-season.
Wow.
Building together and helping them in their space of wrestling. So,
How long are those sessions at the moment? Like once a day at a couple of hours?
Just depends on what day it is.
Yeah.
So we train the boys 2 hours for wrestling, so different groups every hour.
Yeah.
And then the forwards and the backs, or if it's a sprint session or a field session, it'll be like an hour, hour 45. So just depends on what it is. So pretty cool to be able to, to do the walk along with them and push with them.
This might surprise you, but I don't spend a lot of time in the gym. I know, amazing. You're probably really shocked. So that sounds full on enough for me.
Right.
You're laughing, which I'm trying not to be offended by. When you're at peak,
Yep.
you said 3 trainings a day.
Yep. So a fight camp's usually about 8 to 10 weeks, which is about 3 times a day, 7 days a week.
How long is each time a day?
It's usually about an hour session, and in between those trainings you're doing recovery. So I'm lucky enough to have a recovery at my house, a sauna and an ice bath, so try get in that as much as I can in the week, just to have like a flush of the hot cold contrast. We're not going to be feeling a sore the next day. It helps you sleep, helps you recover faster. If you're not doing that, you're doing yoga, stretching, a lot of stuff I've had to learn with my age, just maturing as an athlete. It's not about just the output. You got to invest back into your body.
Yeah.
So something I've learned from the Warriors as well, all the young guys are doing all the extras, doing the whole preseason. The older guys don't come until halfway, if not towards the end, because they don't need to do that big push. Their bodies have that muscle memory that they can pick up in the season of their rugby career, where less is more. And same now in the fight game, where I don't need to be in the gym 24 hours out of the day and sparring all the time. I can just cater towards what works for me.
Yeah.
And that's been a big learning as well, is I guess just quality over quantity and saving your body and obviously saving your brain.
Do you said saving the brain, do you have a program to train the brain? So, I know a lot of it's probably muscle memory about how you find that centered bit when you need it, particularly in the ring. But do you have to train for that? And if so, how do you do that? Because I don't think I'm ever going to be doing 3 sessions a day. Much as I could in my youth, not even that actually. But the training the brain part is something that I think I could do. Or maybe not actually, because I'm not a world athlete, can't say like you. But how do you do that bit?
Training your brain, a lot of it is being able to stay disciplined and focused for however long you're training. So if you have an hour session, walking in the doors at our gym, whatever you have going on in your personal life, don't bring it with you.
How hard is that though?
Yeah, it is hard, but you have to. That's how you have to have a clearer mind. So just every day have some sort of purpose. So whatever that is, coming into your session, okay, today I want to make sure I'm working on this skill set or whatever it is. When you go into that session, don't let your mind wander. If it wanders, bring it back. Having the discipline to be able to do that, because in a fight, that's everything. If you have a fight for 15 minutes, if your mind wanders, just for a second, you could get knocked out. That's the difference of the high risk. So being able to be aware of those things, and the drilling that we're doing is at the highest standards. So our coach Twist would always say, if you're not going to do it properly, just don't do it at all, because there's no point. It needs your full attention. Otherwise, go drink some beers and go to the beach, because if you're in the gym, it's got to be like that, and especially in a camp, because you're just wasting your time, and that's something that you need to learn. So for something that I've had to do for my concussion is my multitasking wasn't good. So I wasn't good at planning and organising in my head. So what's helped me with that was cooking. So I had to follow a recipe, stick to it, and obviously you're doing all these things at once, and that helped me kind of work my brain without the intensity of going out for a run or whatever like that.
Okay. Yeah, because in my head, I think you'd be someone like, I'm going to waste this chicken fettuccine. Kind of like, that same kind of dogged, determined, I'm going to smash this chicken fettuccine and then feed it and go to the phone. I go, yeah, you better like it. But it's not, it's trying to maintain different levels at different times, right?
Yeah. And just being able to just follow it through the whole thing.
Yeah.
So if, things aren't working out in the kitchen and you're starting to burn things, don't let it stop you from finishing it. Just figure out a way. So that's been awesome as a way to do things. But yeah, that's when I've been obviously nursing this concussion. Before that, reading was a big thing for me. Reading about other leaders, other sportsmen, and their challenges that they've had to go through their careers. Reading Sonny Bill Williams, someone I looked up to. That's a friend sent me his book. Went to Mount Albert Grammar as well. So something that he did was crossover all these different codes. Rugby league, rugby, boxing. So from his journey, seeing how he did things was a big kind of eye opener for me. The person he is, he's as humble as he is off the field. On the field, he has that mindset of he's going to find a way, and whatever he did, he was always at the highest standards.
Yeah.
He talked about it as being an All Black. When you get given that jersey, you want to leave it better than how you found it, and you're a caretaker of the jersey. So the time that you have it, you give it everything, and then you pass it on to the next person. So something that you want to be doing in life is, leaving this place better than you found it, and how you came in.
Yeah.
So yeah, I know we're going on a tangent here from your question, but
No, I appreciate that, because the thing that comes to my mind is, and you talked about Sonny Bill, in the real game, when we were at Te we get asked to get up and do the whai kōrero. And you can imagine sitting on the paipai on the taumata with your grandfather.
Yep.
And I'm going, right, you get up and do the whai kōrero, and it's like, well, it'd pretty much be like, I don't know, playing a 3rd 15 game and Sonny Bill going, come play for the All Blacks. Or, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm not putting this very well, but, and the other guy that used to do the whai kōrero was Tama Pōtaka, who's now National MP. Anyway, and they get us up to do the whai kōrero all the time. And I couldn't understand why, because when you've got the best of the best sitting there, why would you want junkyard dogs? You know what I mean? Like, it makes no sense. But I get the point, because in a funny and weird kind of way, if you're not putting those lessons that you've seen from the exemplars in action, and you have the benefit of them being right beside you when you do it, and this always happened, we'd sit down and we'd kind of review what we did, and invariably get things wrong, but when you've got the master sitting there on your shoulder telling you how to do it, it's a really powerful thing. And it's never going to happen, but I think about people like your grandfather, when I have to get up and do mihis and stuff, I think about that kind of level of, well, one day, it's never going to happen, but one day maybe, and that's a really inspiring thing. And that comes back to how we started this conversation with you, because I think there are lots of people who are listening to you now going, there's so much out of this conversation that they can learn and take transferable skills from and apply to their field of pursuit and their endeavours. And I just want to thank you for it, because I think the invigorating part of what you're talking about is, discipline, but also being brave enough to take steps to do things and to try and be the best at it in the world, not in the whānau, but in the world, is a really awesome thing.
Thank you. Yeah, it's definitely something I've had to learn growing up is, just if you have something, just go after it. Don't let your fears or your limitations hold you back. And then, in your real journey, go all in. Something that I've embraced, and something I did for my 30th was get my first tamoko, and something I never thought I'd even get any moko. My whole life wasn't something I gravitated towards, but I had I guess realization that now it's time. Carrying my whakapapa, carrying my 2.0 on my back, literally. So when I go out there and step on the world stage, people know that he's quite pale, eh? He's not Māori, but then they see my tamoko now and they said, no, he's definitely Māori, So yeah, it's just the way I wanted to show homage to my culture, to my people, and know that I carry them everywhere I go. For people that are, I guess, looking up to me to, help them on their journey. I started in a place where no one else believed in me but myself. Everyone thought, he's too small, or he's not going to make it, or whatever. He's not as smart as the rest of his family and stuff like that. But I just stuck at it and trusted in the process, and just keep turning up for yourself.
E hoa tēnā koe. I think your grandfather would be pretty proud.
Thank you.
He used to do this thing. We go to these manu kōrero competitions.
Yeah.
He would never clap. He'd have his tōtoa and he'd just like this. And he'd never clap. I reckon he's doing a bit of that.
Thank you.
Nā reira, e hoa, kai, tēnei ka mihi atu ki a koe. Tēnā.